to me your secrets, show me your nightmares. All cats are gray in the dark, dear, whether or not you dare.
Welcome to All Cats Are Gray in the Dark. I'm your host, April Simmons. This podcast contains true cases of graphic violent crimes and other stories of a dark nature. Please be advised that due to the subject matter and violent, sometimes sexual content and obscene language, this podcast is not for children or the faint of heart.
Come here. Welcome back, everybody.
Yeah, this is part two, the sequel of Sabrina Hauntening.
Hauntening. Now I've added extra letters, so
yeah, quit adding more letters. You're making it more confusing. All right, what other stories have you got for us? Because we're enjoying the fact that we're just kind of sitting back and enjoying the story.
This is great. I love having a guest on.
Yeah, we should have a guest every time, so we can just sit here. That would be silly, but yeah.
I don't really have exactly very many more personal stories, but we could kick out some Spire stories.
Well, then you
I
have
don't even remember what that acronym was for anymore.
Southern Paranormal Investigation Research and Education.
Oh my God, I can't remember that.
I can't believe I remembered that either.
In a ghost hunting group.
That's where I met you guys.
Yeah. I can't even remember why I walked from the other room, but I remembered that.
Yeah. Amazing.
That's about how understand how brains work. That's not this.
I remember all kinds of pop culture bullshit.
Yeah. Remember Christian Slater's name as well.
Yeah.
We're pretty sure that you don't take drugs, and you have not taken drugs in a long time, because most potheads...
I'm sitting there like, have I taken drugs?
Can't remember that either.
Yeah, most I smoked a lot of weed in the 80s and early 90s, and my brain is just mush now. I haven't smoked pot in years, probably, God, just years, but my brain, I feel like, is 80 years old, and I blame the pot use in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, I don't have any good excuse. I just forget shit. If I don't write it down on a sticky note or put it in Google Drive, I'm not going to remember.
And not remembering shit terrifies me, because my first husband passed away from early onset dementia and Alzheimer's. And now when I'm sitting here studying for college, or I'm trying to remember something and I don't, I completely freak out. I'm like, oh my God, do I have this? Or is it coming? Or am I going to have it? So, and then just the other day I saw a commercial for something that's supposed to improve your brain, your memory, and all of this. I'm like, that is such bullshit.
Improve your braining.
Improve that braining.
Braining.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, so I don't remember a whole lot of our investigations, probably because I scared shit out of myself like usual.
She's blocked all of that stuff out.
Yeah, no, there's one that I'm pretty sure you guys mentioned in the previous episode that I'm pretty sure I was there for, but I don't remember.
The Thaxton house, yeah.
Oh,
I don't remember if you were there or not. The only reason I remember Sahara was there was because I had a weird girl crush on her at the time.
Oh
yeah.
Well, when we first met, I was like, man, there's this badass redhead that's a mortician and a bass player, and yeah, I just thought she was really cool. Anyway,
I was there too.
And it was a really pretty meadow, and nobody else is gonna get that reference.
I got you.
Now I forgot what I was even saying. Shit.
I was here. I was there.
Yeah. The main reason I remember is because she said she saw at least somewhat something similar to what I saw, because I saw what looked like a burnt-faced man coming from that other bedroom. And she said she saw it too. So it was really extra weird because he didn't tell us anything about that house, and then later he told us the guy burned to death with an electric blanket. And so it was extra freaked out that independent of each other, we saw a burnt-faced dude.
Do you know what I remember most about that experience?
What?
Was on the ride home, we had a gynecologist that was in our group. And we found out that he had married one of his patients, and I asked him if it was love at first sight. They're divorced now. They're divorced, and the gynecologist has been to prison. So if that tells you anything.
It's a sweet group we had going.
It was a great group.
It was entertaining, group, even if the person that ran it was completely bonkers.
Oh,
but
100%.
No, there was a house in particular that I remember. I know we did witch dance.
Yeah.
And just
I got to just say, because you talk about we brought up food every episode, so I got to bring up the biggest reason I stuck with it is back in the beginning when Flora cooked for us all the time.
Oh
my God. Her food she was a great cook.
I didn't know what turducken was.
I remember the turducken.
And sometimes we had like a taco night.
We had a sushi where we made they made homemade sushi.
I don't think I was there for that one.
I remember it being discussed. I don't think I was there, but you were always my ride. Because I don't think I was driving.
No, you were young.
I think I was close to 18 at the time.
Yeah.
But I probably didn't have a car.
She was our map drawer.
We did a few cemeteries around Aberdeen. We did a few houses in Columbus.
Oh, we did witch dance,
scared the crap out of me because the woman, it was July and she still had her Christmas tree up, and that just is scary to me in itself.
Which
it's
one?
July. Why do you have a fully decorated? It was in Plantersville.
Oh, you're talking about the other burn house.
Yeah,
that would creep. No, I saw some shit at that house.
I was standing in the bedroom by a child. She had a son or something. Her husband.
He was going through puberty, and I fully 100% believe that he was the cause of it because a lot of the shit was happening around him.
I think so too. Well,
I think he was going through puberty. He was that age where he was either in pre or going through puberty. I'm not sure. I didn't ask.
I was standing by his bed and I felt something touch my foot, and they didn't have any animals in the house. That was Sabrina. She was haunting me.
Kinky. She was haunting.
Something touched my foot, and I still to this day don't know what it was, but it creeped me out, and I'm a skeptic again, but that creeped me out.
Yeah, so the house I remember, I think it was like in between like Boonville and
Ryansy.
I missed that one. I didn't get
the Annabelle. You didn't go to the
No,
Annabelle one?
I wish I had.
That couple, I thought they seemed perfectly normal. She was Australian.
And they wanted to live here. They got the house for like a
But she gets into explaining how she ends up in Mississippi, and it's because she thinks she is reincarnated from a Civil War soldier.
Okay.
So she had this need to come to the South and raise forces.
So right out the gate.
Right out the gate, we're like,
glad she wasn't like trying to raise slaves or something.
Yeah, no, so they, I'm
bringing silver.
Probably not even remembering it right, but I think they were explaining to us that they always saw the most action like near the bathroom in their master bedroom. They saw like flashing lights, but they've had electrical checked and they heard things in the bathroom.
I was gonna say it is an Annabelle house,
and he got some video. He left a camera set up on a tripod upstairs, and we did have video of a coat hanger moving on the bathroom door. I do remember that. But nobody was up there. Nobody was up there.
Yeah, I know. I just remember that house gave me the creepiest vibe.
And he took a picture in the well that had like glowing red eyes in it.
Oh, is that the house with the well?
Yeah, so that's what did me in. Like, I'm like, oh, what's out this door? And it's like literally like a porch covering that's like, it was maybe a few feet wide, and it was really short, like my height. I'm like 5 foot tall, right? It's just like 10 feet out, tiny ass skinny porch, and there's just a creepy ass well at the end of it. It didn't make any sense the way it was laid out.
Wow.
And I just, as soon as I opened the door, saw the well, I had like the most ominous feeling I've probably ever had, even past the doppelgangers and phantom car. I was just like, there's dead people in that well. Later. And the fact that a lot of the stuff stemmed from the bathroom and hearing voices, I'm like, it's probably traveling from the well. If the plumbing is still set up to this well.
Was it? Was it still well water?
I think it was. Or at least, I mean, even if you change it, you're still
there's probably still a connection running into the house somewhere, even if it's not connected anymore.
Yeah.
There probably still
Did
is
they
that.
have a covering on the well, or was it like a wishing well? Had they built something over it with a little bucket, like you see?
I think there was some kind of lid.
I think it was a concrete.
Yeah, it was a concrete slab lid.
They had concrete slabbed it. Okay.
Yeah. So.
But he took a picture inside of it. He moved the concrete slab and took a picture, and there were what looked like glowing red eyes. There may be some reasonable explanation for that, but
it's dead people.
Yeah, no, I don't do wells. Like the Ring, maybe like pretty stupid, right? But it scares the shit out of me. The idea of like falling into a well. Maybe that's our family history there, but just the idea of people down there at the bottom slowly dying or drowning in itself is scary. Just that's a horrible fucking way to go, and I can only imagine you're gonna be real pissed off about it.
Oh yeah.
Whether you accidentally fell and you're like, fuck, why did I do that? Or if you got pushed down there or just buried in it, you know.
Samara coming through your TV.
Yeah, no thanks, no.
It's like, why doesn't that happen when I'm watching porn?
That's invented.
It has to be.
And see, without the technology, if that just randomly happened, you would still be scared shitless. You would not be like, hey. You would be like, I'm getting the fuck out of here. This guy came out of the TV.
It depends on how hot they were.
Like, how big that is.
Oh, God. We just made the same noise.
I heard that it was in unison. You guys are so sisters.
We also both laugh like,
yeah, especially when we're tired, it gets more and more manly and weird.
Yeah.
It just gets more weird. It's like,
fucking Santa up in here.
Yeah.
But no, that house in particular was my least favorite thing. Doing a cemetery or a battlefield, those freak the shit out of me because it's like everywhere there's dead people. We know that for a fact. There's no
literally
guessing
dead people.
There's no guessing if there's dead people. They're
they're all around you. But no, like you said, that woman was a big kicker. We didn't know she was projecting herself.
Yeah, I don't know. What's weird is I do technically believe in the possibility of reincarnation, but still, when she was telling that story, it gave me the willies.
She belongs there. Just like I belong in
the only time I've ever really gotten there's two times I've gotten the willies, but one being in an embalming room at 2:00 in the morning by yourself at the funeral home, and it's a funeral home that has one of the largest cemeteries right outside the doors. And I was embalming, and suddenly I felt like the person that I was embalming was standing right behind me watching me. And all of like the little hairs, silica on the back of my neck just immediately raised up. And I felt like this breath on the back of my neck. And I was like, I am not alone. There is somebody here with me. And I stopped everything I was doing. I paused everything, and I went out to my car. And I cranked it, and I contemplated leaving. Like, that was it. I was going to call my boss. I'm done. I'm completely done with the whole career. It's over. But I didn't.
And then you smoked a cigarette and felt better.
I did. I smoked a cigarette, and I was like, I'm freaking myself out. I've seen Phantasm too many times. I just need to go back in there and finish my job and do the right thing and close up shop.
What's really bad, and I know this is terrible to make a joke about, but for some reason when I was picturing it, I pictured like somebody, like a really dumb character like Keanu from Bill and Ted or something, standing behind you going, whoa, that dude looks like me.
That would have been pretty fun.
That's just like what I pictured.
I'm going to do that. Do that for sure.
That was scary.
I'm gonna be crying at your funeral, and you're gonna stand behind me and be like, "Whoa, that chick looks like me."
No,
like,
I'm gonna. You're gonna hear knocking, and they're gonna open the casket, and I'm gonna say, "Come in."
Oh God, now I'm gonna be freaked out by that.
I'm gonna be dead. My kid's gonna look over my casket and still be saying, "Hey, can I play with your app on your phone?"
If I even mention dying first, James flips out.
Really?
Yes, he can't stand me talk about it. He gets mad.
I mean, it's inevitable.
I'm older than
you
him.
You may not die before him, but everybody dies. There is no escaping.
Yes, but I'm adamant that I'm going to die first because I have health problems and because I'm older. So, but he freaks out anytime I mention it.
He has a fear of mortality, of dying.
Especially of me dying, because he's like...
He's codependent on you. Can't live
He's codependent, but I'm also like, yeah, but your last girlfriend was only moved out 2 weeks before me and you got together. I'm like, 2 weeks after I die, you're going to go find somebody else on Plenty of Fish.
You can't live alone. Yeah. Yeah, he just needs to go buy a fish.
That reminds me, on the story on the first part of the episode that you were telling about your house, I keep getting distracted because my messages are popping up on my screen. He said, when I told him about the stuff that was going on at your current house, he was like, well, she shouldn't have bought Nancy a Ouija board. That was his response to that.
I don't think she's ever used it. She's got several versions now, and I don't think she's used it yet.
Have you seen that video of the dude messing with his sister when she's having a slumber party with a bunch of girls and they're on the Ouija board? He goes to the fuse box and flips the switches back and forth to turn the lights on it. And every time he flips it off, they're like,
that sounds like some amazing shit for our Halloween party.
Yes. I have a Ouija board. I have a Ouija board right in there.
Unfortunately, all these Halloween parties I throw for my kid because I'm a child and I'm excited about it. They don't do shit for Halloween.
They just sit around.
Half of them don't dress up. They're just chilling, being teenagers.
Because
they
think they're amazing cool. When
I remember walking into her room, 40 freaking kids in her room, 7 walk out of her closet. I'm like, guys, that's not how you play 7 Minutes in Heaven. It's 2 kids for 7 minutes, not 7 kids for however many minutes. They're doing it wrong. But either way, you're not doing it right for a Halloween party.
It reminds me of a game they played at Morville in the band room. You don't want to know about that game.
Oh, God, that sounds like a haunting.
There was like a big, because they have big closets because it was for band. They stored stuff like big instruments and stuff in it. But they had an empty one, a big ass closet that was probably about half the size of this room. I know that's going to help the people that are listening.
10, maybe.
Something like that. But they would go in there and turn off the lights and start feeling each other up and stuff. But it would be guys and girls in the closet. Wow. So it got weird. Time. It got weird sometimes. And I played that once.
And then you have like the big churches around here.
It freaked me out.
The big churches at Halloween have the Hell House. It's like 7 minutes in hell. You're going to hell. Welcome to hell. I want to become a member of a church just to be part of the group that portrays hell. Because I would portray it perfectly. I'd be like, Dr. Satan! They would kick me out. I would be excommunicated again.
You'd be like, this whole section needs more metal music.
Yes, this needs some Ozzy. This needs a little Black Sabbath. Yeah,
we need real bats that we can bite the head off of.
Yes.
We need human sacrifice. Whatever. What else do we have on the list?
I couldn't really remember a whole lot else from Spire, but I have some sweet, dank, haunted places in Mississippi that I love visiting. We want to
list them.
Chatty about the Hauntening.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do like a ad break, and then we can do those separate. Sound good? We'll be right back after these haunting messages. Hauntening? I can't remember. I still can't get the hang of that.
The investigation into the high school massacre
Parkland High School massacre.
At least 14 dead, 50 injured.
13 people were killed today in a mass shooting that includes a suspected gunman.
Coming soon, Active Shooter, a podcast that studies the psychology, motives, and methods behind some of the most notorious active shooters in North America and beyond.
East Alameda Avenue. They're saying somebody's shooting in the auditorium. 315 and 314.
We will discuss the whys, the hows, and most importantly, the proposed solutions. Can the proper mix of mental health services and gun access put a stop to what has now become an accepted everyday occurrence? Have we become desensitized and accepting of this new phenomenon? Join us as we break down each case and discuss the failures that led to each event and how we can identify and stop them in the future. Join us soon, and please subscribe to Active Shooter.
We're gonna have to. I'm gonna save a clip of that. We're just gonna use that for.
This is my new notification on my phone. I've got to save that. I've got to get you to record it just to be my new notification.
I'm gonna save it and start using it for our comeback from the break.
Yes, always.
Every time.
So, I lived in Vicksburg, Mississippi for a good couple of years there in high school, and it's obviously one of the most haunted areas.
Notoriously haunted, right?
You got the Natchez
big Civil War battle.
Yeah. So one of my favorite places to go still, and every time I'm in town, I pay the money again and go to the Vicksburg Military Park.
Ooh.
Which sounds boring as shit, right? And it can be if you do it wrong.
Well, no.
I'm kind of into it.
We're not even talking about ghosts here. I love the Illinois Monument.
Yeah, there's a monument where you can do some mad harmonies and
It's like got some really great sound and reverb in there. It sounds amazing. So we go in there and sing shit.
We should take a girls trip down there. I haven't been since I went with you guys, and that's been 10, 12 years ago.
That's too long.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the Vicksburg Military Park, obviously one of the bloodiest battles of the Civil War took place there in 1863. So that's one of the biggest reasons it's supposedly haunted. And I say supposedly, we at least know there's a shit ton of dead people there. Again, one of the number one signs of haunting
is a shit ton of dead people. A shit ton of dead people.
Yeah, but there's
chances are.
Yeah. So tons of people get orb photos there, which I feel like orbs aren't nearly as prominently talked about now. I don't know if that's the advancement of photography.
I think it is. I think they finally figured out that that's just like flash or whatever. Yeah.
Reflection on dust. But
right.
I think orbs are cool and creepy, so I'm going to keep going with it. But, a lot of the monuments there have been up for a long time, but not obviously since fucking Civil War. But you've got the Pennsylvania Monument has bronze faces that supposedly you can see them crying blood sometimes. You have the Ulysses S. Grant, this giant ass statue that's just creepy in general. And supposedly people see it.
I swear I saw it move that night. We were trapped in
supposedly people see it move, or sometimes they see him riding through the park on his horse, because it's him on a horse.
Yeah, the statue is him on the horse, and I swear I've seen it turn when we drove by it.
Ooh. Oh, yeah. Isn't there a big ass weeping angel?
That was in Natchez. There's a cemetery in Natchez, a huge, beautiful cemetery. If you're ever in Natchez, go to that cemetery because it's so photogenic. Even if it's just to take pictures or
the monuments
look around.
And statues of the tombstones and markers were exquisite.
But yet there is an angel that's next to the road, and she's
turned away. Up at you, won't she?
She's turned away from the road, but if you drive by, people say they've seen her turn and look at you as you pass by.
No, too much Doctor Who. I can't do that.
Yeah, don't blink.
But yeah, the Vicksburg Military Park. Obviously, people have heard what they say. They hear cannon fire, they hear soldiers, they hear horses, all kinds of stuff is heard and seen out there. People say they see ghosts. There's a house that was a hospital that's still standing at the military park. They've also pulled a ship from the river now that's out at the military park. So it's pretty cool if you like history. They also do night tours sometimes.
Or dead people.
Especially closer to Halloween.
Yes.
We've actually gotten lost in there after sundown because we
went in the
we got locked in and we could not figure out how to get out
for the rest of the night
because they locked the gate.
Yes,
so we had to call park rangers and get them to come find us.
Hell, we're stuck.
Come find us at the Ulysses S. Grant statue, mind you, and I'm pretty sure I was probably crying in Floorboard's car at that point.
Hello, no,
it was
Ulysses
scary.
S. Grant has us kidnapped.
Yeah, because it's in rolling hills, and so there's lots of trees,
and there's all these. There's access roads for the park rangers and stuff, but the public is not supposed to use them, but we were trying to figure out how to get out because the main gate was closed.
Oh.
So we went down all these access roads trying to figure out how to get the fuck out.
There's also cool, there's a little pathway underground at one spot that you can walk through that
Which we did not after we got lost in the dark.
No thanks, not in the dark.
Fuck that.
But yeah, it's a cool spot. Super supposedly haunted. Super supposedly. One of the other places in Vicksburg that I love and again visit every time they get all my money, the McRaven House.
I haven't actually been in it.
I haven't heard of that.
Oh no, it's kind of randomly located downtown. It's kind of at the end of a road and hidden behind some like ivy and a pretty gate. But you walk through, and this house, what's creepiest to me is actually the architecture and the style of the house. It was built in stages by different parts of the family. So, like, you have the original part of the house that was built, like, 2-story, but, like, the bottom half didn't even have a door because the guy was a bandit and he didn't like not knowing people were coming and, like,
so I'm just not going to have a door.
Yeah, so he built this, like, teeny tiny little area in the back house. Then they added more house. And it's built to the standards of back then, so part of it is way shorter because everybody was shorter back then. Oh. Then you come to the front of the house that's the most recent, and it's bigger and grander. It's really oddly laid out because it's got so many different parts. It's got like the kitchen that's outside of the house because back then they did that for fire sake. But the kicker to me with this house, of course, they've had several sets of the families that have died there. But of course, it was used as a damn hospital during the Civil War. But what's great about it is there's a particular window upstairs, I think in the middle section of the house, where a surgeon's table was. And right outside that window, they found tons of body parts in the ground because the surgeon would just toss off an arm and toss it out the window.
God,
so they found
fantastic.
tons of random body parts out in the yard.
Well, that's
dug
lovely.
it up throughout the years. But they also buried tons of soldiers there, so they've uncovered a shit ton of dead bodies there. And it's just a creepy house again, like the layout of the house and how short people were back then.
We should go there.
Oh yeah, and it's definitely got a creepy ass feel to it, but I love it. It's beautiful. I love Indiana Bell home in Vicksburg. If you're a fan of architecture in general, Vicksburg is the place to go because you've got some beautiful shit 1900s.
I'm going to interrupt the story just quickly because we've both been to the Winchester Mystery House because you're speaking of architecture. Yeah. Did you get? I got creepy feels in the seance room. Did you really get any feels?
Oh yeah, just the fact that they're like, there's like X amount of, there's one entrance but 3 exits, and I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? But the whackness of that house, oh my god, it was like
it's definitely a weird vibe in that house though.
Oh yeah, no.
I didn't sense any specific entities.
Yeah.
But it just has a weird vibe about it, the whole thing.
Yeah, the way it's laid out, again, that lady was super short. You had tall rooms, short rooms. Some of it's grand, some of it she would cut off parts of the house and build others. So you had rooms that were taken apart and you would find half the shit somewhere else. It was...
And she did that like to try to deceive the spirits, wasn't it? Try to confuse the spirits.
She was definitely not all there, and I've always, after visiting it especially, felt it was less of like spirits and malevolent spirits and more like just a bad hoodoo spot in the universe there, if that makes any sense. Like, that there's, there's weak spots. I feel like that's just one of those spots that's just whack.
She just
that's a real scientific term there.
It's just
do you think that's what drove her crazy, or do you think she was crazy
I think
before?
she was a little bit nuts anyway, and I think this just
amplified it.
Yeah, just like some places, you have people that are mediums, and you go to a certain place, and it's like,
Well, you were talking about turning that house into a hospital. The Lyric Theater became a hospital after the tornadoes. And also, where I got married, which used to be Harrisburg Baptist Church, which turned into the Link Center, it was also turned into a hospital after the 1936 tornado. And there were hundreds of, 200-300 people died in those, and they had been brought to that makeshift hospital. So I think both of those places, if you believe in the haunted things.
Oh shit, yeah, and some things in there.
Yeah.
Ding, ring a ding ding.
I think that those are two really good places to explore.
The Link Center, I kind of forgot about the Link Center, but it gets a creepy vibe if you get off in there. Because there's whole sections that are not really in use, and it's kind of like a big labyrinth in there. You start walking down some hallways, and you're it's really, really creepy. But people say that they hear a small child, running around and laughing and stuff in there too.
When I was there the night before I got married, decorating for the wedding, I kind of got off to myself and almost got lost because it's a really, really big place. To have been a former church, it is a massive building with lots of little hallways and rooms and probably 100 rooms in there or more. But you can get lost really easy if you turn down a certain hallway and forget which way you came back. It is like a maze. And I never heard anything or saw anything, but just being there late at night like that, in that empty little hallway with all of those rooms, and it's kind of dark because of the lighting, it's creepy. It's creepy as shit in there.
I tell you what, the creepiest room to me, I was talking to them about haunted stuff. Casey Dillard took me to, there is a little room that overlooks the stage in the sanctuary where the church is.
Yeah.
That room is so creepy.
It really is.
Because it looks down on the stage.
Right.
And it's like just a tiny little room where you can look down on the stage and then people can't see you from the
That
audience.
sounds like some Phantom of the Opera.
It is like some Phantom of the Opera shit, but it's really creepy.
But it's beautiful. The architecture of that building on the inside is absolutely stunning. The woodwork and everything.
Yeah, and the lyric's creepy. I've been in there with a small amount of people because we used to do with stuff with the improv group, and they practiced there.
I think there's been a few books written about the lyric and its hauntings and people seeing things.
And that's in Tupelo for the people who are out of town, because we actually do have some listeners that are all over the place now.
The Center and the Lyric Theater both in Tupelo.
Tupelo, Mississippi. Birthplace of Elvis Presley.
Yeah, which supposedly people see Elvis in the Lyric Theater too.
I don't buy that one. I don't buy that one.
I've heard that one, but really, I don't know. Of all the, I don't think Elvis.
If I were to be haunted, it'd be pretty sweet if it was Elvis.
Oh, absolutely.
Why would Elvis come here when he's got Graceland to haunt?
Yeah, he's got Graceland to haunt.
I mean, but I really specifically just want 68 comeback special Elvis. I don't really care about most other eras.
Right. I don't want 72, or 77 dying on the toilet Elvis. Yeah,
I know. I'm good. I want comeback Elvis.
That was a hot Elvis.
Anyway, we got
we got off track. Sorry. Yeah, since you brought up the architecture, that's what made me think of the Winchester.
A really brief one I like that I haven't actually been to, but I'm saying it now, so hopefully I'll make myself go. But I want to go to the Windsor ruins. Now that one's not nearly talked about as much as being haunted. They say, so the owner died a couple of weeks after the house was finally built, and then it burnt down after a party. Someone threw a cigarette out. Whoops, that was probably me too. But no, house burnt down. But it's also I think it's between Natchez and Vicksburg, so it's
it's hard to find because it's literally in the middle of nowhere.
So all that's left of the house is the beautiful columns and some
I've seen pictures of it, but I didn't know where it was.
It's beautiful if you like photography, if you like haunted stuff. It's just kick-ass looking thing to go to. But one of my favorites and another one of those real creepers is King's Tavern.
Oh, yes. That one is most definitely haunted.
It's famously haunted.
Yeah, so that one was built apparently in like the 1700s and supposedly one of the oldest, if not the oldest, building in Natchez, which is pretty cool considering that whole area has kept a lot of historic buildings for that to be the oldest.
It's probably one of the oldest buildings in Mississippi.
Yeah. So you got all kinds of shit. Like there was a mistress that was murdered there. There was a baby that was murdered there that you can hear
by
crying.
The infamous Hart brothers, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it's supposedly you could see some of the bandits that have been there, dudes in top hats, seeing people in mirrors. You had
and they have poltergeist activity.
And there's something about a portrait of a woman in there.
Yeah,
that's Madeline.
Madeline.
That's the mistress.
Madeline. Okay.
She's probably the most mischievous. They'll see her see.
Nobody's going to get that reference either.
I do. That's all that matters. But supposedly, they'll mop a floor and there'll be women's barefoot prints in the floor. But what freaks me out is
send her up to my room.
Or in 1973, they found bodies buried behind the chimney.
Yes, I remember hearing about that.
And
they were remodeling.
A lot of the entities they feel were kind of brought out at that time, even though they buried the bodies.
There you go again.
Shit hit the fan. Then they're
remodeling. Yeah.
They're just mixing it all up, bringing it out. That's definitely a creepy creepy ass place. I didn't feel real good.
I like to go
We
back
brought
there.
the EMF.
Tours.
We did bring the EMF meter with us when we went, and the readings were off the charts. I don't know if there's some kind of electrical anomaly with the building or wiring, or either way, it's whack.
It's just whack.
It could be that there is electrical issues or something, but I feel like maybe that's just exacerbating the situation with ghosts or whatever there. But it is definitely a creepy feeling. Like, for me, it was worse. They'll still allow you to go upstairs and look at the bedrooms. They used to rent them out.
I was gonna say, don't they
like
rent
an inn?
them? Yeah.
They used to, but I don't think they do anymore. You could try to talk them into it, but I
That
don't
would
know.
be a firm no for me.
Yeah, but when I went upstairs, it feels like there is an energy that does not want you there. I did not see anything.
I want to stay there. I want to see if they still rent a room. Would one of you guys go stay with me there?
I say firm no, but I'd probably still go.
Yeah, you do it.
I probably
won't sleep,
Yeah.
but I'd probably try it.
We just got to have some caffeine and snacks. We'll be good.
I got the caffeine. I'm a coffee addict. I never
Got the Mountain
not
Dew.
have coffee.
But yeah, those are all my favorite places.
Actually, the food at King's Tavern is good. It's still open as like a bar and grill type of place. And it's got the cool atmosphere too, because it's like they have like what do you call it, wall sconces or whatever, and stuff like that. It's like brick inside, and it's kind of fancy, but it has like that darker vibe to it. That it's just really cool.
I remember when I went, they had the lights turned down low, and it was like chandeliers, low lighted, was the ambiance of it.
Last time I went, I had an onion bloom, so we just started calling it the haunted onion bloom. But it was a really good. It was a really good haunted.
We need to open up a little
bloom.
cafe here and call it the haunted onion or something.
Yeah, no. Well, and kind of like you said, it just has that bad feeling to it. But the fact that so many people have been murdered there. Like, for it just being a dang tavern. I mean, I guess the longer you're open, you've been around 230 years.
If you open a place that's open 200 years, you're bound to have a murderer or two.
So that makes me think, like, I wonder if it's like a collection of bad juju. Like, one bad thing happens, some more bad things are going to happen, it just attracts all the bad things. Kind of like a big bang of bad things.
Or just like a snowball effect of bad things.
Yeah. Or like we were talking about the Winchester Mansion. Some places are just weak spots and the bad juju comes.
I've talked to staff almost every time I have been to King's Tavern, and they all have a story. I've not had a waiter or somebody that works there that said, no, I've not seen anything. None of them said that. A lot of them say that they've even had dishes that get thrown out of the cabinet and broken. Things like that. So they've got some serious poltergeist activity. And that fascinates me, I guess, more than just your average ghost story, because something getting affected physically is a whole nother level to me.
Just like the phantom car or my mimicking demon fairy ghosts.
Or when I lived at the Blue Springs house and all the cabinets were open when I walked out of the room for like 30 seconds.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That exact same thing happened to me in the house that you lived in down by Lochinvar. I went into the kitchen and got a drink, and I went back out, and then I decided that I was hungry like 10 minutes later, 20 minutes later, and I went to put my glass back up and to get a snack, and you remember that kitchen, it had like 20 cabinets in that kitchen. Every single cabinet door was open. And I've never heard that happening to anybody
all the drawers
else.
were out too. And see, it was only me and my ex in the house. He was asleep. And I literally only left the room for seconds. Like I walked from one room to another and then back. And all the cabinets and drawers were out. And that was shortly after we had moved in, but the activity seemed to calm down. I guess he was like, I guess they're not going anywhere.
Oh my God. I kind of blocked out living in that room with the fucking attic closet too.
Yes, the attic closet. Nancy heard shit in there too.
Oh, we could talk all day about toddler Nancy talking to ghosts in the cemetery and shit.
Oh yes, oh my God, I forgot all about that.
So yeah, before we move on to that, so in this house with the opening cabinets and drawers, the attic access was actually in the middle bedroom, and you open it and
That's
you
an
look
odd
left
place
and
to put
oh
it.
look, a closet. You look to the right, oh fucking creepy stairs.
Yeah, it had it was not just like a step ladder like some attics are. It had physical wooden stairs in the closet that led up to the attic.
Yeah,
And it was open. There was no door to the attic. It was just open.
It was probably squirrels and shit, but we heard stuff and just I didn't even like.
Nancy would hear
stuff in that
footsteps
closet.
on the steps to
no,
the attic.
There were just some days I would just have to, black out, go to sleep, don't listen to anything, put some headphones on, like just get real.
Well, it's also creepy because underneath those stairs is the stairs to the basement.
Oh wow! So it had an attic and a basement.
Yes, and the stairs were like
parallel.
Yeah, they were
See,
above.
attics don't scare me at all. Even though there's been cases of people living in people's attics, which is kind of creepy in itself.
You get to those like people that live in cupboards and stuff.
Yeah.
You don't even know about it. That's scary.
Yeah.
Oh yes, that is
that one story we told.
We need
about.
to tell some more stories. There are a bunch of stories about that. People finding people living in their house.
But basements creep me out.
Yeah.
It's like, do you ever drive by houses and you wonder if there's people like tied up in the basements in those houses? I mean, that's the type of shit that I think about too. It's like, basements are for serial killers. It just, I don't like going in one. Damp and dark and creepy.
Now
and I have a basement, but I don't ever go down there.
Yeah. I do believe that house was haunted by the old man that lived there, but supposedly he was nice. Because people that had lived in that neighborhood all their life told us basically that he was a really kind old man that lived there. He was disabled. He had a wheelchair and supposedly when some of the people in the neighborhood were kids, he would take them to go skating and stuff. Like he would just carry them to go to the skating rink and stuff and take them to do fun stuff. And so the kids in the neighborhood loved him. But we never had any serious issues. No.
You can skate in my basement.
Sounds like a good time. But yeah, so we have our family cemetery. What town is that?
Beeks.
Beeks Cemetery, but it's in Athens, Mississippi.
Well, Beeks is a place. So yeah, no, it is. I think it is Becker. Maybe
it's somewhere out there near.
It's somewhere in Monroe County, out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, so because we're fucking weird. Our family has like a family reunion on Mother's Day out there
every year.
At the cemetery?
Yes, at the cemetery.
And we have
There's
a picnic.
Like a pavilion.
You have a family
We have a potluck. We have a potluck
cemetery gathering.
Potluck cemetery gathering. Yes.
Yeah, some good pecan pie like Sarah made us today. But so yeah,
I want to go to this just to experience.
And there's always deviled eggs.
Yeah. But yeah, so when Nancy was a toddler, one of the last times I actually went to this because, we don't like our dad, obviously.
Yes, my dad's part of the family, so we're kind of scared to go now because he may show up.
Nancy.
Well, that makes more sense, though, of why it's, your dad being the way he is, why their family would have a reunion in the cemetery.
Yeah, so we bring flowers and we put them on the graves. Our grandmother passed away, 2004. So... everybody.
I'm like, how does she remember that? I have no idea. I know she was in her 90s. She lived a long, long life.
But everybody, puts flowers on the graves, visits, talks about family things, the usual. But
it's almost like a church service too.
It's a pretty old cemetery. We've got a lot of family line out there, so I'm getting a little interested since I just had Nancy. She was only a couple years old. Actually, Nancy was named after an aunt that only lived 2 days old. Because when I was 3 months pregnant, I had a dream where my grandmother, who was already dead at the time, said, name her Nancy Maud.
Really?
And I'm like, well, I can't disobey
my
dead grandma.
I thought it was Nancy Drew. I just thought you loved Nancy Drew.
Well, we do love Nancy Drew. That's
Nancy
part
Drew,
of it.
Yeah,
That's part
Wilson.
of it.
There's lots of Nancy reasons.
Absolutely.
But,
Nancy
the middle name was
Spungen.
always Nancy was always up in the air. Actually, yeah, it is part of that too. Because if we had a boy, it was going to be Sid.
Perfect.
That's why I'm divorced. But no, we were, that grave marker is there for Nancy Ma, and so we were just looking at family names, noticing how many names repeated. I found that interesting. But Nancy just, as we're walking through the cemetery, just keeps telling me about her friend Thomas.
Oh, she was, at one point, she was back at the back fence. She had walked off by herself. She was at the back fence talking to somebody, but there was nobody there.
Yeah, kept talking to her little friend Thomas. None of our little cousins or
I thought it was Henry, but maybe I'm remembering.
Yeah,
wrong.
it might have been Henry. Shit, I don't know. But she was talking to her little friend that through the fence, and nobody was there, and none of our family had a child that name that she was remembering. She wasn't old enough to even read a fucking name off of a tombstone or anything. But
we need to go back and look at the headstone.
Yeah, see if there's one. A little boy.
But it was just real creepy how attached she was and how she kept wanting to go back out there and play with her friends.
Yeah, she did not understand why. She didn't understand why we couldn't see them.
See, children see things that we don't see. I truly believe that. I think that their minds are they're underdeveloped, but at the same time, they're
like open for receiving.
Exactly.
You're soaking it all in.
When Nora was really little, she had someone that she talked to when we first moved in here this is the house that I grew up in. I lived here when I was from the age of 2. And still, I moved away. I moved to LA. I moved to New York. I got married, lived in Tupelo, lived around. But I came back here in 2010. And when Nora was little, she had an imaginary friend named Charles. That she talked to Charles all the time. She would be sitting on her bed playing with her Barbies and things and dressing them up while she talked to Charles. And I never thought anything about it. Because most kids have imaginary friends. But then my Aunt Eleanor passed away, and her husband's name was Charles, and this was their house. They lived in this house. Uncle Charles died in this house in 1975. I was 6 months old. He died September of 75 in this house, but I never put the 2 and 2 together of Charles and Uncle Charles who lived here. And then when my aunt passed away, I was going through a few of her belongings that my cousin had given me, and there were some pictures, and there were some really nice 8x10 pictures there of my Aunt Eleanor and Uncle Charles's wedding pictures, and I started hanging them on the wall in here, and Nora pointed right at the picture and said, "That's Charles." She had never seen a picture of him before. I didn't even own a picture of him, but she immediately pointed at him, and she said, "That's my friend Charles." And I have never been so creeped out in my entire life. I was like, holy shit. Okay, now I kind of believe in ghosts for just a minute. I'm still kind of a skeptic, but that is not coincidental that she had a friend named Charles, and my Uncle Charles died in this house, and she pointed him out in a picture.
Oh, yeah, no. Speaking of just ghosts being creepy in general, like anything to do with kid ghosts. Kid ghosts somehow are scarier than anything
They
else.
absolutely
Any
are.
movie about kid ghosts, potential kid ghosts, that shit's gonna scare the shit out of me. Like, and even like, okay, so this isn't a ghost story, but when Nancy was little, she was just creepy as fuck, right? I mean, talking ghosts and cemeteries, but she would always get up randomly in the middle of the fucking night and just stand in my fucking doorway.
That is the creepiest thing.
And then it got to where we got a new bed. It was pretty high, and it had like a ledge where the frame was. I would wake up where she'd just be standing on that ledge and fucking staring at me.
Yep. Nora used to do that with me too. I think a lot of little kids do that.
And I'm sure they do, but
it's still creepy to wake up and the first thing you see is like this.
I'm a bad mom, but I'm like, locking the fucking door. You ain't doing that shit to me. I gotta sleep. Got sleep apnea. It's not good anyway.
Don't you have a similar story though about when Nora stayed the night?
Oh god.
Oh, no. I don't know if
check on the kids, and
I don't know.
Standing in the middle of the room, like just no TV on, nothing. All the other kids are passed out on the floor, and Nora's just standing there, like staring towards the door. And I'm like, "We'll just stay in here."
Yeah, my kid's creepy. Yeah,
just kids are creepy in general. But kid ghosts, man.
There is no telling what she was doing either. Just standing in the middle of the room. There's no telling.
She was probably watching them sleep, and that's
probably
creepy too.
Fortunately, you don't really hear a whole heck of a lot about kid ghosts.
Yeah.
But when you do, I'm out. Like, I'm not doing it. Like, just, with the King's Tavern and a crying baby, I'm like,
what's a movie the
really
others? Are you mad, Mom?
Oh, no.
Yeah. That was
Nope,
creepy.
see, Kid Ghost.
Yeah,
still out.
Kid Ghost.
You know, the Ring.
Yeah.
Kids, that's still scary as shit.
Ooh, the little boy kid and the ghost
Have
under
you
the
seen?
covers.
Here's a movie you need to watch for the family for Halloween. Find Goodnight Mommy. That one is creepy. It's not. It's not a traditional horror movie, but it is so goddamn creepy. Like it's one of those. Nope. It's
right now.
I think it's like twins, or they look similar. I don't know, but it's two little boys. It's two little boys. It's two little boys. It's two little boys, and they think that their mom has been replaced by somebody because she's had surgery on her face. I don't know if it's like an accident or something, but she's wrapped up in bandages, and they think that she's been replaced by something. But the kids themselves are creepy too. It's horrifying.
Yeah, no, I'm good, but I'll probably watch it.
You'll watch it and freak yourself out.
Yeah, no. Right now, the party's theme this year is vampires and werewolves, and right now I've planned to watch Ginger Snaps and Fright Night. Those are the ones I picked out.
Original Fright Night.
Either. Well, the remake is
David Tennant.
Yeah, and he's in like the leather and stuff. He's really hot.
Yeah, that was the only saving grace to the
remake.
remake. I think. I only don't like remakes, but if it has David Tennant in leather, I'll give it a go.
Yeah, if it has David Tennant. General.
Yeah, I'll watch any garbage.
I even watched that one where he was a politician or whatever.
Have you watched? I know we're off subject completely now because we got started talking about David Tennant. Have either of y'all watched Good Omens?
Yes.
Yeah, no, I watched that.
So good.
Yeah.
There was a lot of cosplay.
There's Dr. Who episodes.
Good Omens at Dragon Con that I got to see pictures of.
I think we're not. What's weird is I thought we were going to have plenty of time for us all to talk about our ghost stories, but we really didn't end up having, because I still have more ghost stories I haven't told, so we're going to have to do a whole nother episode about that.
Save that for another day.
Yep. So I guess
maybe I can come back.
Oh wait, no, one more story.
One more
story. When Nancy was little and you saw a shadow person in her room.
Oh, fuck. That's a whole other ball game.
What do you do? I mean, there's a shadow person after your kid. What do you do? It's fight or flight.
And you think it might be death. Yeah. Because she was like scared it was death coming for Nancy as a baby.
Oh, yeah, because I had a miscarriage before Nancy, so everything scared the shit out of me, of course. She wasn't very old because we had just moved out of the trailer we lived in, and we had just moved into this house, so she was maybe one. But
the trailer where the same trailer park where I had the flying banana incident.
Yeah.
We still got to do that story at some point too.
Just keep building it up.
Yeah, the flying banana.
And then they'll be like, "Well, that was disappointing."
So to preface this, shadow people I had never seen before. Didn't really know a lot about until some friends of ours, like power was out during like Hurricane Katrina or something like that. We were all sitting around scaring the shit out of ourselves, telling ghost stories. Well, my first husband, there's a lot of
I can't keep track of those.
He actually,
you just like get tired of staring at the same person across the kitchen table.
I'm just like,
I get
next.
It. Yeah.
Thank you. Next.
Thank you. Come again.
Come in.
That gives a whole new meaning to that. Anyway.
So basically, we're all telling each other these stories, and my first husband really hadn't told me this story before, and apparently had never told anybody. But he proceeded to tell us about sitting in his car, in the car in the Walmart parking lot in town, waiting for his mom, and he looks in the rearview mirror and he sees in daytime a shadow person, see-through eyes, no top hat or anything, or no Dora, but just a shadowy, wavy figure
sitting in the back seat.
No, not in the back seat.
Walking
right behind the car.
Yeah, right behind the car in the Walmart
you look in the rearview mirror and it's...
Okay, I was going to say in the back seat, I would have been a big fat gone bitch. I would have, boom, I'm out. But if it's outside of the car, I'm locking the doors.
I would have been a stinky seat.
Yeah.
I would have been hoping I was wearing the brown pants.
So... he's telling the story, and a friend is sitting next to us, and he just freaks the fuck out. He's like, has someone fucking told you that before? Are you shitting me? Because he had the exact same thing happen to him at that Walmart parking lot.
Which Walmart is this?
I think it was Gloucester. Yeah.
Gloucester Walmart.
Ooh.
Where he saw a shadow person in his rearview mirror.
I just want to go camp out in that parking lot now. I want to see it.
hearing that freaked me out.
Live episode.
But also, there was one night where it might have even been Flying Banana Night, I'm not sure. But
that was the best night.
We actually lived in this trailer park, not a normal trailer park. We each had like a lot of land at least, right? We're slightly classier trash. But there was a crossroads, and my sister was on one side of the crossroads, we were on the other, so we would walk through this intersection all the time to get to each other's houses. So one night, probably drinking. I'm not gonna lie.
Either that, or when you were pregnant, you would call me to come make you food in the middle of the night.
Bring me deviled eggs. Yeah.
But so him and his friends.
It's just 2:00 in the morning. Deviled eggs.
She would just like literally. She put on the demon voice. She was like, she's called me in the middle of the night. Come make potato soup like you used to. I'm like, what?
Do it.
It was just like that too. It was kind of creepy.
But yeah, so they were walking back one way or the other, and they started making jokes about making a deal with the devil at the crossroads, and motherfuckers saw a shadow person when they were talking about that. They were like standing in the middle of the road like drunk idiots, like, I'm ready to make a deal.
And the devil's like, you
and they saw something and they ran the fuck home. And I've never seen them so scared before. So apparently that first husband has seen several shadow people, and that's his like no-no zone. So
they touched me in my no-no zone.
For real.
Show me where the shadow person touched you. In my no-no zone.
So flash forward to having this child after the potato soup and Flying Banana.
Right.
That sounds like a weird analogy for sex. Like we made the baby with a flying banana
and potato soup. I mean, really, that's pretty descriptive.
I know.
For you kids out there who need to know the birds and the bees.
That's the birds and the bees, right?
You take a banana and you put it in some potato soup.
No, the
and
potato
you
soup
you throw the banana at the potato soup.
Anyway, so we're sitting at the house. You gotta get powers out, right? So I guess I just get scared shitless. I probably project the shit myself because I'm so scared. But so I'm sitting, the way the house is laid out, I'm sitting on the couch, and the TV's against the wall, but if you're sitting on the far end of the couch, you're looking down the hallway. So we're sitting there telling each other ghost stories. It's kind of dark, but we've got candles everywhere, lanterns, blah, blah, blah.
Setting the ambiance there. Yeah, perfect.
So, it could be eye floaters and bad vision, but I'm sitting at the end of the couch and I'm looking in, not directly down that hallway, but I'm talking to my friends, but then I see something. So the end of the hallway, at the very end, you go left into our room, and just straight at the end of the hallway is my daughter's room. So I see someone come directly out of our bedroom and floats into Nancy's bedroom and goes out of sight, but it was a shadow person. It wasn't completely black, but it wasn't completely clear. It was like super dark, but you could kind of make out shapes.
Almost like a smoky.
Yeah, really dark, smoky, and clear eyes. I had heard descriptions of it. I knew.
This was the first one you had seen.
This is the only one I've ever seen. First one, only one. I see it go into my daughter's room. I didn't do a goddamn thing. I said, Scott, you go fuck in there. I'm not doing it. And he's like, that's the one thing I'm scared of. I'm like, you got experience, son. Get back there.
Check on our baby. Make sure it's not deaf.
Yeah, yep. So he went back there, checked it out. Nothing was in there. But, I mean, this was like, I saw something out of the corner of my eye, turned. I mean, this is like split second, saw full movement. It wasn't like saw something out of the corner of your eye. Yeah, it was full on, saw it move into my daughter's room. Luckily, she's alive. She's a teenager. She hates me, the usual. But
she's 13 now.
Yeah. But yeah, shadow people, definitely one of those things that I don't have an explanation. And I'm skeptical. I'm happy to tell these stories all day long and read about the shit. But at the end of the day, I'm like, they're fucking ghosts. Aliens is probably the closest thing.
I'm fascinated by it all, and I love to hear stories. It's one of my favorite things is to tell ghost stories and to sit around a campfire and listen to them.
I think you have to stay skeptical to stay sane.
Yeah.
That's
to
my
me,
point of view.
That makes sense.
Like, I think you just die, right? So I'm thinking that's way too easy to just believe I get to float around and fucking haunt people after I'm dead. Like, I know, like...
She's like, that sounds like fun.
Yeah, I'm like, there's no way, like, I'm supposed to live my life and then just fucking die. Like, it's not fair that some people out there get to haunt and some people don't. Like, what do you get to do? And it's not always good people. Obviously, you got these poltergeists and whatever else, so, like, how fair is that some assholes get to haunt people and some don't? I don't believe it. And that's my simplified, stupid version of why ghosts don't exist. But I believe aliens exist more than I would ghosts, because the fact that the universe is so big, we don't have any idea what the fuck is out there. They're not traditional, like, gray aliens, which that shit scares the shit out of me. Like, you guys talked about Fire in the Sky before. No. That's
she hid behind the couch.
I've ever, like, that's the scariest movie to me ever. Still have not seen it.
Since adulthood.
Yeah, you should put that on for Halloween then to scare yourself.
No, I'll never sleep again. I'm never gonna sleep again.
Guilty. Something ghosts and something. I don't know.
No. But, yeah, I believe aliens over ghosts. But at the same time, I don't necessarily believe in them either. But, yeah.
But you're open enough to the possibility.
Oh, yeah,
like
all
me.
of it, really.
Yeah,
all of it's possible. Like, there's way too much unexplainable shit out there, just like Winchester Mansion vibes, the Phantom car I've seen, apparently doppelgangers. You know, there's too much weird-ass shit out there for it to not be real. Hell, like Doll Talk Pass. What the fuck happened to those people? You don't know. Yeah. But, oh shit, even like that weird whale sound that the ocean bleak. I forget what it's called. That's pointless, but we'll move on. There's just way too much out there. I think ghosts are just, it's a way to hold on to life after death to me, and I don't think it's real. I got too serious. I'm sorry.
Yeah, now you're making me question my own sanity. Thanks. Anyway, I guess we're done because my battery on my laptop's about to die. So I guess that wraps it up.
It's going to turn into a ghost when
it does. No. No, it isn't according to Sabrina.
No, it's just dead.
It's just
dead. There's nothing.
There's no coming back, which means nobody's going to listen to this episode. I got to give a shout out to Locations Unknown podcast and Another Shade of Crime podcast. Check those out sometime.
Shout out to our 2 subscribers.
One of them's me.
Oh, damn. Now you got to listen to yourself, though. That's the true punishment there.
Oh, God.
Yeah. I don't listen to myself.
When it comes to these ghost stories and things, sometimes I'll listen to our podcast when I'm going to sleep at night just to, you know, catch up or whatever, and because I'm probably the other only subscriber. But when I'm at night,
mystery solved.
I know, right?
When it's the ghost stories and the aliens and things, I lay down the other night to go to sleep, and I put on the alien one. I had to turn it off.
Really?
I could not, even though it's us talking, I couldn't do it. I was like, no, I need something a little more light than this, or I'm going to dream of being anally probed in a spaceship. Which,
that doesn't
it might be a good thing. I don't know. Depends on how they do it. But, yeah, I couldn't do it. I couldn't listen to the alien.
Anyway, thanks to Sabrina for coming on the show. We'll probably have her back again sometime in the future just because I can make her.
And she's awesome.
All right, everybody, talk hard.
Talk hard.
Yep, we didn't do it at the same time, but you'll live. Bye.